Hey, Boaz here with Next Pittsburgh. We're here in the Strip District for Yinzer Backstage Pass to get a behind-the-scenes look at Mancini's bread. To show us around, we've got Nick over here somewhere. Nick, where'd you go? Nick Mancini Hartner. He's part of the Mancini family, and he's the owner here. And so, Nick, thanks for having us.
Oh, thanks for coming down.
You have two locations. This is your strip location.
Right. So this is like a retail version of the original bakery in McKees Rocks. So we started down there in 1926, so we're 96 years old. And then we started in here 2002, December 2002. To a degree, we're kind of like a test kitchen for the main bakery. So a lot of products have originated here where we get that chance to experiment on a small level, and we also get that immediate feedback from customers. So we're going to head on back behind the retail area. So that's where everyone gets to see, and they kind of like go on their tiptoes and they can peek back to see what's going on in the back, but we're going to get a close first-hand look here. Let's start here. So we have some product that's ready to go in the oven. Our double rustic baguettes, our pepperoni rolls, rustic Italian, and our European multigrain.
Are these proofing or no? That's another thing. I just watched too much British Bake Off.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is in the final proof. And so this is our double rustic baguette. We ferment it twice as long as a traditional baguette, twice the weight of a traditional baguette. We feel like this just meets like the average Pittsburgher's needs more than a traditional French baguette.
But it's still like baguettes are just like flour and water?
So this is our version of a baguette. The traditional baguette is flour, water, salt, and yeast. We do add sugar and malt, but not a lot, just enough to get the yeast going and to give it a little bit of flavor.
Okay, what's next over here?
So this one is the rustic Italian. You want your cuts to be parallel and down the middle.
So who taught you how to bake?
Journeyman bakers in McKees Rocks, Lenny Palazzo and Frankie Mazziola. They taught me everything. So I knew all the what we do and how we do it at Mancini's. And then I went to the Dunwoody Institute in Minnesota, and I also went to the San Francisco Institute of Baking. So I got to figure out why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And then I myself am a bioengineer by degree, so I have a lot of science background. So got to take these two things, like practical knowledge and textbook knowledge, and put it together to further develop like Mancini's products.
So a bioengineer, I mean, so at a certain point, did you think that was the career you were going to have?
Yeah, that was the plan. When I finished college, I came back for a year, and my mom said, why don't you work 1 year at the bakery, see if it's something you want to do. Both because I love my grandfather, I love the product, I love the bakery. I'm still here 20 years later. Next on our list, I think we're going to go back and we're going to load here we call her big oven. It's, again, not as big as McKees Rocks, but we're going to load it up. And we're baking our cranberry walnut bread today. And I'm going to take what's behind you. This is it's already been...
Can we just talk about this for a second? This thing looks crazy. So there's just it's like a little Ferris wheel, sort of?
It's called a Ferris wheel oven. It's one of the names for it. Been popular in American bakeries for a long time because it allows you to have more baking surface in a smaller space. So a typical oven is a hearth oven with just one shelf. So it's moving through the oven, it's moving through the hot spots, through cold spots, and it's giving us a really nice bake on our bread.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. There it goes. Now you just have it there for the next one to catch it. What's in here?
So this is for our rustic Italian. It's flour, going to be water, salt, malt, sugar, and lard. That's our original recipe.
And so how many loaves is this that we're looking at right now?
This is approximately 66, 68 loaves.
God, that's crazy. It's just so much.
And then again, like I said, this is a lot smaller than McKees Rocks. We'll do approximately 550 pounds of dough at a time.
Oh my gosh. How big is the mixer there? Is it like the size of a room?
It's about this wide, about this deep. And, the volume, obviously, the bigger the radius, it just gets phenomenally bigger.
So it's just like the size of a hot tub almost.
Right. So this is going to mix for about 12 minutes altogether. I'll check it halfway through and just make sure it feels right, and then I'll make adjustments. So the way you tell if bread's done is if you tap the bottom if it sounds hollow. These aren't quite there yet, so we're going to put them back in and give it a few more minutes. You like to feel the dough to make sure everything feels right, make sure the development is right. It's what's called a window. So you want to take this, hold it up to the light, and you want to see a little bit of veins. You don't want to see breaking.
How are you going to get all this dough onto that table? This is what I'm excited to see. Okay, so you're just going sort of chunk by chunk. I thought there was going to be some magical machine that dumped the whole thing out onto the table. Wait, what is happening over here? This looks like really old school.
Balance scale. So this is going back to how my grandfather's older brother started the bakery.
This is really impressive, Nick. I'm sure you do this every day, and I hope someone is telling you every day that it's really impressive how you can eyeball this dough and really get so close to this measurement. What is the measurement that
We're going for 19 ounces.
19
So
ounces?
that will bake down to 1 pound. So you'll lose moisture in the oven.
All right, we've got a few more loaves coming out now.
So European multigrain, like I said before, you hear that? That's a nice hollow sounding loaf. That means it's fully baked.
So these look like the makings of the pepperoni rolls.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So
Pepperoni gave it away, I'll be honest. What's in here? This is like something spicy?
Yeah, that's our secret seasoning, so I can't give it away.
Okay. There's some green bits, some yellow bits in there.
Exactly, that's technical terms, yes.
Okay, so these are like those portion pieces.
Yeah, these are the same portion pieces that we scaled earlier. So this is like a mechanical rolling pin, basically. It's called a sheeter. Every pepperoni roll has 21 slices.
Oh my gosh, wow, you've really got this down to a science. I guess you need to if you're making so many.
Right. You want to definitely control your costs, and you want it to be consistent.
So on a busy day, how many pepperoni rolls are you selling here?
I would say on like a record day, around 1,000, a few hundred on an average day.
Okay, so now you're sprinkling the secret spice mixture.
Correct.
And now we've got some cheese going on top.
Yep, this is a shredded mozzarella provolone. The reason I can show you all this because the real differentiator is really the dough. Original recipe dough, dating back 96 years. This is the part that can't be replicated. This is what makes our pepperoni roll so great. So when I was learning how to bake, the older bakers, as like a thank you for kind of making their day a little bit lighter, they would make me lunch. And one day, the man, Lenny Palazzo I mentioned earlier, he brought pepperoni and cheese in. We made this giant pepperoni roll. It was like the best thing I ever had.
And that was where the pepperoni roll was born?
And I said, this is so good, we should make it. And he said, it's too much work. And I agreed, it was a lot of work.
Right, this is a little more labor intensive because each one needs like so many sort of touches.
So when we started here, no one knew we were here. I had a lot of downtime. And so we said, how do we fill this downtime? And here we have a lot more like walking traffic as opposed to McKees Rocks. And we started making pepperoni rolls, and they quickly became our best seller and became like the center of this bakery.
Now we've got some cranberry walnut loaves coming out of the oven. Pam's pulling them out.
I always like to check, just be sure the bottoms are nice and brown too.
So they look good? They look ready to come out?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, Pam says they're ready.
These are going to be our twist bread. So this is the shape that my great uncle used, and this is back in the day when pans are very expensive. So instead of making like a traditional Italian loaf, which is basically like a football shaped,
Right.
the problem with this loaf of bread, looks beautiful, but if you're selling it to a restaurant, it's going to be small sandwich, large sandwich, small, medium. This will give you a nice even loaf and with like a lot of strength. So we're going to roll it out.
So you don't need a pan?
Right. So this has its own internal strength because of the single-stranded braid. So you just throw it, flip it underneath, and turn it. And so this Italian twist is the same diameter all the way through.
It's mesmerizing to watch you do that. And I guess looking at that, I would always just assume it would be 2 strands and not 1.
That's the beauty of it. It's faster, and it's just, more unique and tight.
And then how much longer does this rest before it goes in the oven?
We'll give it about 45 minutes, but everything is a little bit temperature dependent.
Yeah, you'll sort of... Well, I see how you work. Nick looks at it, Nick touches it, and Nick knows.
I'm not the only one. There's a lot of guys faster than me and been doing it a lot longer than me. And these are our pepperoni rolls, hot out of the oven. We bake these all day long, so you can always come in and get a hot, fresh one.
Well, Nick, thanks so much for the tour and for showing us how everything works and for the lesson on rolling the twist bread. I don't know if I'm super great at it yet, but I appreciate the effort you put into trying to train me.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming down. You're a natural. I think we should get you in here more, but it's been a pleasure talking to you and showing you around the bakery.
Yeah, and happy 97th year.
Right. You're the first one. Thank you.